Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to be reviewing the new Code Geass. It ended this last week, and I finally finished it, and here we are going to do a review on it because Code Geass as a whole, at least the original series, is a top 5 anime for me, and I really did enjoy Resurrection. I thought it was really good, and there was some really cool scenes in the film too that I really enjoyed. And I didn't even know it was we were getting a sequel anime. But yeah, as a big Code Geass fan, this was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one, since I didn't know about it, which is very surprising because I am on the internet a lot, and the fact that I had no idea of this show's existence until my friend told me about it is kind of crazy. I guess I'm a fake fan after all. But to not beat around the bush any longer, let's just go ahead and start talking about it. So, before Resurrection came out, there were three movies that came out about the original Code Geass, the recap films. And in these films, they changed certain events from the anime to line up with the new universe because this is set in a separate universe, separate timeline, whatever. It's not connected to the main anime series whatsoever. So then Resurrection comes out and follows up those movies. And then this new series, Rozé, of the Recapture, is a sequel to the movie. And I'm just gonna say this right now. This show had no reason to exist. Like, it's cool that we got a sequel and more Code Geass stuff in general. And it's really does well with the fact that it was something new. We had new characters, older ones appeared very little, but they weren't involved directly into the main storyline or the main plot. They weren't cameos. Some were like Suzaku, Zero, Nanali. They had like one scene in the whole anime. Lelouch and C2 had like two scenes total. Cornelia and Gino were the most prominent ones. Kaguya at the end, but that's because they are leaders of the Black Knights and the United Nations, Federation of Nations. But we got a whole new cast of characters, and this this is my one of my biggest problems with the show, and it's a reason why it did not need to exist. Unlike the original Code Geass, where all these characters we spend time with, we get to know the personalities, the complexities, the motivations. These new characters, aside from like three, four maybe, of the new ones specifically, we learn nothing about them. We don't know anything about them, don't know where they came from. We know their personalities because they are one, the pretty much one note, all the side characters. Like one of them, Haruka, aka Black Cat, is pretty much the Callan of the series, and she does a miserable job at fulfilling that role. She's supposed to be the Resistance ace, but we barely spend time with her at all. She's one of the more interesting characters in the show of the side characters, and that is like really stretching it for me. We learn her mom passed away and stuff, but we just don't spend time with her at all to get to know her. And because of that, you don't get an attachment to her or any of the other characters. The only characters we really spend time with in the whole show is Sakura, Sakuya, aka Rose, and Ash. Those three. Nolan is the big bad. You can kind of say we do, but he's like really one note. There's like no complexity to him at all. That's a big downgrade compared to the Resurrection movie and the original anime series. But Rozé slash Sakuya is probably the best character, if not Ash. Their dynamic is definitely the focal point of the series. But even then, even though we spend a majority of our time following these two characters, getting to know them, their motivations, and everything, it's the relationship isn't the same. Like, I think the biggest problem this show has is the length. Code Geass had 50 episodes to tell its story. And some people would say, oh, well, not all the episodes were good, like the slice of life episodes. They will specifically point out to the cat episode, which they are like, that's the worst episode in the series. It's god awful. Now, I am a defender of that episode. I actually really enjoy it. I enjoy the slice of life moments of season one of Code Geass because it's a nice contrast to the war, all the fighting, all the tactical planning. It all it's a bridge between all those moments, and the show not only needs that, but it helps it because those slice of life episodes capture what the people of Japan are fighting for, those that peace. It shows just the high school students living their life, causing mischief, and it really makes you don't realize it, but subconsciously you know what they're fighting for because of scenes like that. Not only that, but those slice of life episodes sort to flesh out characters, even not directly. Like we learn a lot about Lelouch from those slice of life episodes, not from when he's Zero fighting the war, leading the Black Knights. It's from those slice of life episodes and moments that we truly see Lelouch and his relationships grow and develop and how he develops over the course of the series. This show, Woes of the Recapture, not only lacks that, and as a result has less time to breathe. It makes it's just all action. It's action, 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 fast pace, fast pace, fast pace. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. You got to save this person. Oh my God, this resistance group got annihilated. What are we gonna do? We are losing this fight in every sense of the term. And because it's only 12 episodes, you don't get that time to breathe. And because of that, it's what people wanted season one of Code Geass to be because they don't like those slice of life episodes. As a result, it really falls short since we don't get to spend time with these characters. We don't get to get attached with them. One of the second to last episode or the one before, one of the resistance fighters sacrificed himself, and it was supposed it literally it lingered a bit to feel sad about him, and I just felt nothing. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to care. We don't I don't know this person at all. And like Haruka, Black Cat, she has these moments of like an inferiority complex. She wants to be the best. Unlike Talon, who obviously was skilled, Haruka is told it's told to us that she is skilled and that she becomes the ace of the resistance, but we don't see that. Her skills aren't reflected in the fighting at all. And even then, the fighting isn't really focused on the resistance group. There's no planning, there's no tactical maneuvering. It's just a lot of just go straight in. Like there obviously is a plan during these battles, but you don't really see that. A lot of it is carried by Sakuya and Ash as well, defeating the big bads. Now you could say Lelouch was the same way in the anime, and that's true, but the difference with that is it was indeed Lucius' story, the anime, the original Code Geass. Rose of the Recapture is supposed to be Sakuya's story, but we don't really get to see her story play out. Her motivation from the beginning was to save her best friend Sakura, who acts as her double because Sakuya is royalty and she has a double for protection reasons. She gets captured, but Sakuya escapes, and her goal throughout the anime is saving her. But we rarely get to see the dynamic fleshed out. Like we obviously know they care deeply for each other because they grew up with one another, but unlike the relationship with Lelouch and Suzaku, we don't get that same amount of depth between those two. So her motivations fall short. Not only that, Ash Ash is probably the most interesting because he is controlled by Sakuya's Geass and he gets it undone. So it adds conflict between the duo when after we spent so many episodes with them. Like that actually did come as a shock. And what's this did have emotional value. What's even more shocking is she didn't need to use her Gios on him, and it just shows the state of the of like of the Hokkaido, which is where the story takes place, where she doesn't have anyone to trust. So even though she didn't know it at the time, she did have someone to rely on, which was Ash, because he knew her father and he helped him out so much that he holds a deep respect for him and his daughter as a result, due to all the talking they did. But I don't want to try to get into spoilers, in case you haven't seen it, especially because it just ended. I know a lot of people like to binge, so I'll leave it off there. Uh, I'm thinking ahead to try and avoid spoilers with my words. But Ash, we see his tragic story. He was raised by the big bad. I don't really know if that's, I guess that is a spoiler. Um, if I spoilers from here on out by accident, all right. I'm doing this without a script. I'm not planning it. I just saw the episode, so I just kind of wanted to talk about it because I am disappointed in this series. I am really just sad about how it turned out. It could have been better, especially for how much I love Code Geass, but it had a lot of wasted potential, I think is the best way I could describe it. But yeah, that's about it for the characters. No, Nolan is the main antagonist, and not only is he a blank slate, his motivations, he has no motivations. He plans to, he pretty much, I don't know if this is a spoiler. It is a spoiler, I guess. Uh, yeah, just spoilers, guys. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But Nolan, at the end, it's revealed he wants to eradicate humanity. He's a clone of Emperor Charles, who's was supposed to overtake his body, obviously, because his Charles's original body ages, and he wants you in total youth, so he was using that clone. So with Charles dead, the clone has no purpose pretty much. So he just is like, yeah, let's eradicate humanity. Is it because of deforestation, overpopulation, lack of resources? Nope, none of that. No, nothing philosophical, nothing metaphorical. No, I wasn't wronged by humanity. I was treasured. I just want them dead. Like, yeah, that's it. No reason. I just want you. I genuinely can't answer why. I just want it. So his motivations are terrible, man. Fucking terrible. And it because of that, there's no weight to anything. Ash's little brother was killed by Nolan, and he dies the same way that he killed Ash's little brother. And there's just no satisfaction you get from it all. The ending felt rushed. We get this nice peaceful ending, and it's like, okay, I don't really feel like it's deserved. I don't really it's a it's definitely supposed to be a satisfying ending, but it doesn't feel satisfying. I guess we can move on from the characters now. The one of my biggest issues about the series, And this really, really ties into it not needing to exist, or it could have been done a lot better. So the story takes place yet again in Japan, being overtaken by a small Britannian faction known as Neo Britannia, who still obviously has loyalty to the original Britannia. They aren't happy with the war, how the war turned out. It's pretty much a remnant faction, pretty much. And they overtake Japan, not all of Japan, thank God. I thought it was originally, but no, it's just the Hokkaido island. And they have this barrier that prevents people from getting in or out. And it's just like, how is it that after everything that happened in the original Code Geass and in the movie, that this was allowed to happen again? Like, how was it allowed to happen again? That even if it wasn't all of Japan, the fact that people were able to overtake an island and block out any outside help forever and pretty much create their own mini nation, it's crazy. It's stupid. Like, we don't even really see how it happens. We're just told about it. Yeah, we got told about Japan losing independence against Britannia in the original anime. But like that's the whole thing about Code Geass. It's a storyline followed throughout. We don't need to see it. But the difference between that and it happening in Rose is the fact that we already went through this before. It should not have happened again. Now, if this was a different part of the world, I would have understand. I would have understood it a lot better. It probably would have been better if it was focused on another part of the world, like the United States, South America, Australia, even Russia, or in actuality, freaking Britain, the UK, in Britannia. But no, like, and we just go back to Japan, and it's like, oh, it's been overtaken again. At least Hokkaido has, so we're back to square one. And so that's why there's another resistance. And it's, I just, there was no reason for it. The story is just non existent, pretty much. There is a story. They're fighting for independence again. Rose Sakia, like I said earlier, is wanting to free her best friend. But it's just a lot of wasted potential. It could have been done a lot better. One thing I really appreciate is this universe made the Akito series canon. They actually showed up for a little bit at towards the end of the series, and I did really appreciate that. That is something I absolutely enjoyed and thought was really cool. And it makes me question, oh, like we could have had something with them even, or it could have been gone in a whole different direction, and it would have not had that wasted potential. The animation was really good though. What I dislike about the designs though is the mecha designs. Now, Code Geass has a criticism that many point out is towards the end of the series, it really became less about tactical fighting and just the better machine. Like it really went more mecha towards the end, especially look at Callan's upgraded. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. It's the Gore. Is it the Goran? I'm not confusing it for Goran Lagan, am I? Oof, I'm sorry if I am. I'm a fake fan. But she just decimates helicopters, tanks with her laser arm beam. It's just like all that kind of gets out of control. And this Rose really takes that to the next level. Now, it doesn't detract from the enjoyment, I would say, but even with that in the original anime, we still had the tactical play and the chess themes because of Lelouch, even with those advanced machines. But that's just not present in this series, so it really falls flat. So when you see the new Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. Nightmare frames. Oh my God, I can't believe I blanked on them. When you see the nightmare frames, it kind of takes you out of the universe for a little bit, especially when the Resistance is fighting in a lot of older machines that reflect the original anime. And this apparently is not supposed to have taken place that far after the Resurrection movie, which that's another criticism about the story. Not only does it happen again in Japan where they get overtaken, at least in Hokkaido, but this happens like right after the movie, apparently. Like really fast. Not even like a year, I think, had passed, if I remember right. I could be wrong about that. But with all that being said, that's why I think this anime just had no reason to exist. It's not sending any messages. There are themes, but they're just not. th- They're just kind of regurgitating some of the themes from the original anime. And as a whole, because of that, it just falls flat. It's wasted potential. It did not need to exist. This story, I feel like, doesn't serve a purpose at all. The original Code Geass told many things. We had the dynamic between Lelouch and Suzaku. We have interesting characters with Sichu, Lelouch himself, Suzaku. They're well developed. Lucius ties to the royal family. Those it had so much substance to it that's just I'm not asking for just the same thing of the original to be retold, but again, there's just nothing in this series. It offers nothing, no interesting messages. Spoilers, at the end, Ash dies, and even though we spend the whole series following him, I felt nothing. Like I genuinely felt nothing at all. It was crazy. I honestly couldn't believe they did that. And then at the end, Sakuya uses her Geass on herself, which was pretty cool, but at the same time, it makes her mute. She can't speak at all anymore because her Geass, unlike is Lelouch's, but unlike Lelouch's, where he needs to have eye contact which activate, Sakuya's, even though it's the same one, is audible. So she makes herself become a mute by using the Geass on herself, which I did not like at all. I just feel like there was no story being told, and because of that, it falls flat, and it just doesn't need to exist. I at this point, I'd probably just be repeating a lot of my same criticisms. No characters, animation's good, design wise, they're good, except I don't like the nightmare frames. But yeah, that's about it. That is my review on Woes of the Recapture. I really wanted to enjoy it more, but I just couldn't. I really couldn't, man. It was just so disappointing. And it's not bad at all. I can't call it bad. I've seen a lot of bad shows. It's definitely not bad. I would say it's good, but I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's amazing. I wouldn't rewatch this. I rewatch Code Geass every year. It's a tradition at this point, a yearly Code Geass rewatch because I love that show, man. I could watch it and never grow tired of it. I can't say the same about Rose of the Recapture though. Like, I don't think I would ever come back to this show. Uh, if you want a rating, I'd probably give it a seven, a five to a seven, somewhere around there. I give a lot of shows a seven, above average. And I think a lot of them are that, but it's definitely something to watch once and like never go back to. But that's gonna be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about the series, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.